to our friends Robert Dennett and Robert McCrory of Staples, who are also very highly involved in the Institute of Packaging Professionals, IOPP, which you've heard me say a lot and have heard John Hayward say a lot. So I want to thank you guys for giving us this opportunity to see your space, to learn a little bit more about the distribution process and how on-demand packaging works, and to find out more about Staples. So thank you for your partnership, and I'll let you take it from here.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
And again, guys, this is going to be informal, so if you have any questions, we're going to probably spend 20, 25 minutes in here, an hour plus outside. It is a little noisy outside, it's active. Usually the later in the day we go, the more active it is, so the orders are dropping. Basically, if you get an order by, this building is doing the orders for your .com, so if you're ordering online to your house or for your business, for the school, it comes in mixed lots, whether it's a full case from a vendor or what we call break pack cartons. If you order by 5:30 is the cut time for this building.
5 o'clock is cut time.
5 o'clock, then you're going to get it the next day. 98% of the country is the same place. So that's one of our competitive advantages at Staples, is you get that order in, you're going to get it on your porch the next day. So in my role is all about outbound packaging. So I'm out of the Dallas area, and our company headquarters is outside of Boston in Framingham, Mass. So we've got a number of centers like this, and then we have other centers that handle our brick and mortar, the stores that you would go into. So we'll cover that when we get into the presentation. So I'll go ahead and just kick it off, and we'll kind of talk about Staples. We'll talk about the distribution center. So this is actually what we call a fulfillment center. We'll get into the difference on that. We'll take it through the fulfillment process when you're doing your ordering online or from your phone or from your app, what have you. And then careers, what Staples is all about. It's not just we're in the supply chain side of the business, but obviously on the other side of the building we have some sales force in this location, engineering, the packaging aspect, wide variety of opportunities. So. Company overview. Actually, we're growing quicker than I can keep up with. We had a note that came out today. We've got 85,000 associates worldwide. We're active in 25 countries, and then we've got many of you might not have known we're the third largest e-retailer. So e-commerce behind Amazon and Apple. So Apple has just recently bumped up ahead of us with their growing sales. We've got more than 2,000 stores. That's the brick and mortar stores I was telling you about. We're doing some things. We just recently, you guys are familiar with the easy button, Staples, it's easy. Well, our mantra now is make more happen. So we're looking to reinvent ourselves and to make more happen. We're shrinking some of those stores from a footprint standpoint, because more and more of our business traffic, whether it's from the .com side or from our business customers, is coming through coming through the online channel. So it's over 50% of our sales is on the online channel. So that's good for our facilities like this one here, because that's where the volume is coming out of. Fortune 500, you guys are familiar with the Fortune 500. We're the most recent ranking there. We're at 127, and the stock is at on NASDAQ and at SPLS. So talking about our distribution centers, the fulfillment centers. So we have 30 fulfillment centers when we had written this, and this make more happen. How can we become more efficient? So we've recently announced kind of the downsizing of the organization, where we're merging some buildings into the others. So here in a couple months we'll be at 26 fulfillment centers. And again, that's for our .com sales, and then what we call our Staples Advantage or business customer sales. And then we have 4 distribution centers that handle the stores. So we've got one in California, Indiana, Maryland, and Connecticut are the 4 retail distribution centers, whereas again, this is a fulfillment center, so the orders are being populated through the computer server, and then they're kicked out to the machinery that's making the box to order and filling fill in the order, whether it's a mixed case, so what we would call a break pack box. This box will be made, taped up on the bottom. You could get a thing of Windex, pledge wipes, notepads, pens, pencils, all that could go out in one box. Then there's also some other items, whether it's a Keurig coffee maker that's sold by the case, that would go out in the vendor packaging, if you will. So we're doing, Robert, as far as the volumes coming out of this building specifically, as far as break pack cases a day, on average you're doing?
Last night we did 3,300 break pack cartons out of here. We tracked about 400 bags. So 20 with the pack size machines created 2,900, roughly 2,900 cartons last night. So to go through there.
Yeah, generally we would have we used to have what we just have like a stock, like this is a vendor box, a solo cup. So we also do a number of vendor cases, what kind of our bulk pick. And this building's a little bit different because we have a cart, and you'll see that once we're out on the floor. So we've got these carts where you have 40 different boxes or 40 different orders online. And then on average, a customer, the order size might be 3 boxes. So it might be one break pack box, a big thing of cups, and then a chair or something. It can be any assortment. So on top of the 3,300 break pack boxes, our total volume of pieces coming out of the building on average?
15,000. We ran 15,000 last night.
So
out of the building. So, and with that said, the building's running 15. We're going to be probably November, early December, no later than January. We're actually about to start a construction project, turn this into 253,000 square feet, and start running 22 to 26,000 cartons out of here every night.
So again, it's all about that making more happen, optimization. Both Robert and I report up in, again, through that supply chain, and then there's one kind of global VP that's accountable for all our buildings, and then there's a breakout, kind of a regional aspect of that as well. So from a company on the break pack side, we're doing 200,000 individual boxes, the break pack boxes a day, and then on top of that, you've got the furniture sales, the vendor cases, so you got hundreds and thousands of pieces getting out. A lot of it's delivered by UPS, and we have our own fleet delivering products, and then we have third-party carriers. So this building, Robert said they're just going to have an expansion, so we're almost going to get half again the size of the building. You'll see it's a little bit tight on here now. Every building's a little bit different. There's some buildings that are 800,000 square feet, one of them in New York. So it just depends. Some buildings we built from the ground up for Staples, others we've taken over from some other site, and we've worked within the walls that are there. In this particular building, he's got 90 employees, and then 12,000 plus SKUs actually housed in the building. So just last year, we went, we have our millionth item that we sold in our catalog was an ice cream scoop. So I don't know, we're pushing that. The goal is to keep broadening that catalog. Recently, we just added 15 different styles of Crocs, the poly footwear. A lot of people in the hospital and service medical industry are wearing that because that goes with the scrubs that we sell. And it's a lot of full service. So our real growth right now, our big 3 categories, ink, paper, and toner, are declining because people are using tablets or the phones or what have you. So a lot of the growth is from what we call BOSS, Beyond Office Supply Sales, is what that acronym is. So it's your waters, it's your janitorial supplies, the coffee for your break room, creamers, things of that nature. So again, 12,000 SKUs in this building. He's what we call his lines per day. One box is not just one item, and you'll see that on the floor. We're doing a mixed case. You might have 3 or 4 or 5 different lines, if you will, in each box.
The lines are that always throws me off because that's 12,000 lines that are coming out of my break pack. We probably did about 17,000 lines, but we measure our BHP, our productivity, off of cartons. How many did I process to? So the 12,000 is what came out of break pack last night. Actually 13,300. came out of there last night on there, so.
So in each of our associates, depending on what tasks they have, if they're pickers, filling orders, they'll get measured on their boxes per hour, or picks per hour, lines per hour. Some of our tapers get measured on the number of boxes they're putting through the finalizing, because there's folks putting the packing slip into the case. There's people on our QC that are checking, hey, are all 4 items that are supposed to be in the box, because the other quality components, we don't want to have any leave behinds, which is orders that are sitting here on the dock and not at your house the next day, so that then we haven't satisfied you as a customer. Missing and wrong, so if there's an item that you'd ordered and it wasn't in the box, or you ordered the blue highlighter and you got the pink one, that would be a wrong. So, and then the other component is distribution. What happens to the package when it gets distributed. A lot of the newer items that we're carrying, and this is a lot of where my role comes in, working with our merchants, the people that do the buying, and say, hey, we're going to buy X thousand of these at this price, and then we're going to sell it for Y price. Well, I work with our vendors, such as Procter & Gamble on the Swiffers, or Dixie Crystals on sugar, or Clorox on Pine Sol, or the different sanitizing wipes and things like that. And then Staples has their own brands of those items as well. So we have our own brands team. So we'll work internally and externally. So we've got to be cognizant on what we're shipping, how protected the packaging is, packaging that's going to allow it to get there through that distribution channel. So we'll give you an example. So you get onto staples.com, you place your order, and it goes off and goes into our main server in Framingham, Massachusetts. And you live Cyprus, I heard someone say. So it's going to get kicked back here, and you're ordering whatever you're ordering a case of water. So it's getting kicked back to Robert's facility here, and a ticket will be made, and they'll be printed, and then they'll be picked the next morning. Or sometimes the same day, depending on what time of day you order. And then that's going through, and the order's dropped, and then associates will pick that order, they'll pack it, and then label it, and then away it goes depending on how it's, if you're in the zone or not, whether it's going UPS or courier. After it's picked, and you'll see out here we're palletizing loads. Some of the loads we'll send out. Where are some of your line hauls going?
We touch everything on the lower part of Louisiana and lower part of the thing. So we go all the way to our farthest line haul is Baton Rouge. It hits Baton Rouge and drops off the rest of it in New Orleans into that area. We're Hammond right outside of New Orleans is their facility, which a courier handles all of our delivery distribution there for us. But it's about 6.5 hour to 7 hour ride where we take out here. It gets out of here at 10:30 every night.
So we'll build a pallet of mix orders. Each one of you guys might have an order that's on one pallet, it's stretch wrapped, and then it's going out, it's going what we call that fleet line to New Orleans. And then in New Orleans, they'll have a different hub facility, if you will, that then will route the package to your particular address, saying you guys live in New Orleans. And then we'll follow the mapping process. The driver might have 50 orders on his truck that day, 50 drops, and they'll follow what's called RoadNet to make it the least travel time possible to where it's going to deliver to those 50 locations. So,
one of the things I want you guys to think about that's really exciting for me in this facility, right? When they talk about the break pack, when they talk about the line items, think about if you've ever made an order from Staples. You can order a pen, you can order a box of a dozen pens, or you can order a case of 10 boxes of a dozen pens. And they have to be able to respond to whatever that order is the next day, right? And is it blue or is it black? It's that much level of complexity. That's why logistics is so important when we talk about packaging, right? You've got to be able to coordinate everything from how do you deal with that demand, that absolute fluctuation that they've got to deal with, right? How do you make that box? How do you make it successful for you so that you can get it all to fit on a pallet? You don't want the same size outer box for someone who's ordering a case as for someone who's ordering a pen, right? That's a lot of waste that you'd have in that pallet. That's a lot of waste that you'd have on that truck. So this team has worked very hard to make sure that that chain that they have, that logistic chain from one end to the other, is absolutely as lean as possible. And that's one of the great things that you'll see in this facility, is just how they're able to respond to on-demand needs in a way that historically we couldn't do. So I think that's a great thing to keep an eye on when we're here.
That's a great segue. Well, I think we've really covered this part of the slide there. That's our server that's based in our home office at our partner, PacSize. They're out of Salt Lake City, Utah. We partnered with them, started in 2011. We had a test site in Orlando, not a test site, but our building in Orlando became our pilot site for the technology on this on-demand packaging. The fellow that started the company has been in corrugated material since the late 60s. He's a German fellow, started the company 12 years ago, and they've really continued growing and growing, and we've had a great partnership with them over the last 4 or 5 years. And we've got this technology in all, probably 70% of our volume going out of the buildings are in this type of technology, and we still have a few centers to convert that are on our conversion plan. But we just this past year we won the not only the Ameristar Award from ILPP, which was a packaging competition that was open to whether it's beverages or industrial packaging, medical packaging. There's a whole different criterion that you can submit products into. And then by winning that competition, we were able to compete in the World Star Packaging competition, where we won that. And then also on top of it, we entered into a sustainability piece, and actually we were the gold medal winner last May in Germany for sustainability. So one of the things we had was our traditionally we had 6 different box sizes, and everything was packed into it, whether it was the gallon jug of soap or whatever we ordered, a sleeve of cups. All of it had 6 different items, 6 different boxes to fit into. So dimensions are key. If I'm packing this item, I need to have a good dimension. Otherwise, I'm going to have a box that's way too big. So our number one customer complaint was excess packaging back 4 years ago. Once we've implemented this on-demand packaging, it's basically that's eliminated that from our customers' feedback. So these machines, and you'll see these, Robert's got 2 of them on the deck out here for us. We've probably got 100 plus of these machines placed in our buildings around the country. It's automatic. It's basically like I can't remember. You guys have a CAD table?
Yeah, that cutting board.
A cutting board.
Yeah.
So it's basically computer-aided design. It creates a drawing of what that box type's going to look like, and then this machine will automatically route it. And this is 3 different tracks. So these are different widths of corrugated raw material, 1,200 lineal feet, and it's going through the machine based on what the size of the components, all of them that are going into that box to fill that person's order. So you'll see some further pictures, and you'll see more when we get on the floor. It can really give you a better understanding of what we're doing there. So in this building, again, it's a cart building. We've got some buildings like the one I'm in Dallas. It's got over 3 to 5 miles of different conveyor in there to convey the boxes. So the smaller the boxes are, the more boxes you can have fit on a conveyor. It's just like traffic here in the afternoon. The more cars that are feeding on that highway, the more backed up it's going to get. Well, that's how can I make that more efficient so my operations team can get those orders out to your house the next day. So we've got the 5 different bale widths that cut out. Actually, our smallest boxes are actually cut out of our biggest bale because we tile them together and then you break a couple apart. Right now we're using C-flute. I'll pass. These are labeled on the top. So the thin one is B-flute, and the bottom one, the thicker one, is C-flute. If you guys want to just kind of pass those around. There's a variety of different grades of corrugated. Corrugated is 3 plies of paper. You got a top liner, which was the printed substrate. You got an inner liner that's touching the product. And then you've got the fluting, which is that wavy material. So that waves, think of it as like a straw. If you put a straw in and try to crush it, you can do it, but you got to have some force on there. Then say that's a B-flute, is that straw. Then if you had like a paper towel tube, or a toilet paper tube, say that would be C flute. Try and crush it, you gotta have more force. So two things about a box. It's kind of like columns, like Roman aqueducts, transporting water. Well, they built those in that arch pattern to have more durability, if you will. So those columns, the bigger the column, the bigger the support on crushing. And at the same point, the other impact, the side impact. So a lot of times you'll have a box that's called double wall. It'll actually be 5 plots of paper. So you have a B-C combination. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get the stacking strength and you get the durability. So when you have a box made up, generally what we call RSC, regular slotted container, where the flaps meet in the middle, like this one here. 80% of that box's strength, stacking strength, is coming from the 4 corners. So that's why sometimes you'll see some different designs on boxes to really maximize the stacking strength based on if you're shipping cups or croutons or whatever the item is. And a lot of times in the warehouse you'll see, can you stack them 5 high, 5 layers high on a pallet, 6, 7 layers high. It just depends on what those components are. And, if you've got 40-pound items, think of a pallet of paper. You'll see that out here, a lot of them. 40 cases, 50 pounds each on a pallet, that's 2,000 pounds. Well, we've got 8 per layer, 5 layers, so your 50 pounds is actually, you've got another 200 pounds on top of that bottom box. Plus then we might stack it too high. So you can see the item there. We take the dimensions on that digital camera and that iPhone, and it made the box right in line with what we had. So we went from 6 boxes. In this building, we're doing like 190 different boxes, fit to size, basically. So a lot less extra space, a lot less of the air pillows that we put in there as far as the dunnage material. We don't use foam peanuts or shredded paper or anything like that. And then each of the machines are spitting out 250 boxes an hour.
Speed printer, because I'm so familiar with it, or a server that John works on, right? He's got on the outside of his package a number that indicates how many tall, right? How many high you can stack this on a
Correct.
pallet. When you have a product that has that, are those products typically things that are so large they'd stay in their own box? Or do you have to take any of that type of information into consideration as you decide what size package
We,
to put things in?
we do actually have a project that's called tie high. So the tie, how many are on a layer, and the high, how high they are. And I was looking to see, this box is, the standard pallet's 40 by 48, so it's showing from a case, they've got 8 on a layer. And I don't know if it's got, how many are on the pallet, but we're doing more of that. Mainly it's coming from the vendor side. They'll give us the tie and the high. We know there's 40 cases of paper on that pallet, whether it's coming from International Paper or Domtar or from Asia Pulp and Paper, whoever we're getting that paper from. And Nestle Water, we work with them on a project to eliminate the tray and reorient the bottles in a case, 24 pack. They used to be 4 nice rows of 6. Well, now they're kind of offset, so it makes a smaller, tighter pack. It actually travels better. We've eliminated the corrugated there, and instead of 72 on a pallet, we've got 78 on a pallet now. So we'll work with our vendors in that realm as well.
So the machine pack the item into a measure the size, right?
Well, we measure the items independently.
Oh,
so
okay.
the items that we've measured, they already know
Yes.
when the order's dropped, what we call dropping the order. And they might drop the orders every 30 minutes, just so we have a bulk of work.
Yeah.
Rather than orders trickling in, we'll drop them, and we'll bring associates in knowing when the bulk of the orders are dropping. We'll have more associates come in the afternoon rather than being here first thing in the morning when people are just getting to work. But once those orders drop, that goes through the server in Boston, comes back here, and it already knows it needs to make a box. It's 21 by 15 by 8 because it's got these 8 items that are in there, and it has each of those dimensions based on that SKU, what that item is, and then what the order quantity is. So Robert, you can kind of give a good overview, probably better than I can, as far as what we're looking at here. This is what you guys see when we walk out the door.
So what you're looking at here, these guys are picking, looks like this building's set up with half flow rack and half static rack there. So the carts are set up there with a license plate like he's showing up there. So when we go back out there, you'll start seeing all the boxes get loaded onto these carts. And they're running off a Pick the Voice system, a small little unit. I could say Togman, but none of y'all know what a Togman is. About this size, about as big as an iPhone, basically. So it's sitting there telling them where they need to go, how much they need to pick, and where they need to pick it as they pull this cart through. It doesn't fill one box at a time, it's filling all 40 if it needs some of that product for all 40 boxes. So it goes to that location once, fills whatever needed on that cart, and then moves on. So it puts it in pick-pack sequence for them, and just is talking to the whole time. It's all voice inflected. So Joey can't get on there and start using Billy's because he's in trouble for errors, because he would have to retrain the entire pick system. And we would know, what are you doing standing there for 45 minutes, because that's about what it takes. So I'm drawing my Pick the Voice, because we had that when you start getting in trouble for errors, which we hold everybody accountable, so our customers are getting what they need to be doing. They're always described to them, it's like going through a drive-through. You don't check your bag, you get home, you got fish food instead of the burger and you're peed. That's what our customers do. We place an order, if you don't get it right, they're going to be peed, and they don't have any control over it until they open that box. So that's what you're looking at right there. These guys pick about 170 to 222 lines an hour is our fastest person getting through a cart. Carts can hold up from, you can get a whole bunch of one-liners and be lucky running through there, which very seldom happens, or you can get up to 300 to 400 lines on a cart. And as it goes, it just gets a little heavier as it goes, as it makes our P sections. So.
Yeah, and Robert mentioned we've got different technology in different buildings. There's some that are pick to paper, the orders are actually on paper. There's some that are pick to light, where we've got a light. You know, this area might have a light on and it's popping up, and there's a scan there that says, hey, we need 3 here. The pick to voice, it's coming in your ear. It's saying, hey, go to 5L109. I need 3 of this item. And the next thing you go over here to 5R and you need 4 of this. So it kind of pass you out on what you need to pick when and where.
Plus, it's all done with barcode. Everything has a barcode on everything, done with scanners. The new Pick the Voice units are the new upgraded ones, which hopefully we get soon. Is all wireless. You know, right now you see the guys with wires hanging off of them that they've got. And the new ones are all Bluetooth. So they just put the scanner on there. We also got finger scanners, and so they'll be able to just hit it like that.
So what happens if he picked the wrong one?
So what happens when the picker goes over there? He goes to the location you just described. He's supposed to scan the barcode there, so it'll tell him. If he scans the one below it, it doesn't talk to him like we're talking. It gives him the commands. It'll repeat the location, so that way he's aware that he's at the wrong location. So, not to say that we still don't get errors. It just helped lower them quite a bit. So you still got human error.
Yeah, that's a good piece, but it also leads me to this part: is how do we set up the building? You know, obviously we want to have our higher velocity items, or items that we're selling a lot of. We want to have them closer in to where the associates aren't having to walk further down in the aisleway or further down in the end of the building. You want your higher touch item, just like a grocery store. You know, they do put the milk at the back. That way you got to walk through and you'll pick up something else on the way out. But for us, we want those high touch items right on that end cap every time. And then that's also important for the people that slot where in the building these items go, because you don't want the orange pine saw right next to the lavender pine saw, because then we're going to create mispicks on our own account because we've got 2 similar items right next to each other. You do want to stagger them out in the building. Same thing if you're selling 1 pen versus a dozen. It's kind of what we call that parent and child. And we'll also have a terminology of the suck up. What is the selling unit of measure? So is it 1? Is it, you know, the 4-pack of batteries, the 8-pack of batteries, the 12-pack? So that product gets picked. And this is a picture from our Orlando facility where we've got 5 machines. There's actually another machine over here, and it's picked 3 layers high where the boxes are in a conveyor and going up. But in this building we don't have the conveyors, so that cart it has 40 different boxes on there, and as Robert said, you might have 10 one-liner boxes, but there might be 10 boxes on there that have 5 or 6 items each. So each cart might have on average of 300 plus items that need to go in it. And it's kind of like aircraft grade aluminum, so it can be light and flow through the building even if you've got heavy items in it, make it more efficient for our
I
associates.
believe this building is about 600,000 or 700,000 square feet, and they service everything in the state of Florida. So
Yeah.
that's why the building's bigger than here. We have 3 distribution centers in Texas compared to the one that they, out of Orlando, takes care of everything.
Yeah, as Robert said, they're doing, this building's doing 3,300 brake pack boxes a day. This building's 12 to 13,000 brake pack boxes a day.
You talked about the, obviously wanting to limit the number of errors that you have. What is your average percentage?
We go, this building right now, to date is running a 99 point, we have a 0.28% error rate right now. So we're only 5, there's only 5 buildings making goal right now, and we're one of them, but we always do that.
So, I mean, roughly, you know, that 0.27, 0.29 range. So, I mean, we're talking 1/4 of 1% roughly. So 1 out of 400 orders might be wrong. And again, we got a lot of human error opportunity, but at the same time, you know, the pick the voice, you're using technology to try and drive those orders down, but also training and reemphasizing our SOPs, our best practices for associates, whether it's picking or packing, whatever the case may be. So,
And it shows you too, I think, as a class, what it is that, why it's so important to have all the different technologies that they have working together. And you'll see how they talk about the accountability of the person doing the picking. Because when you're down to that low, less than 1% error rate, right? You want to make sure that you keep that down low. And by being able to really assign duties to people very clearly and making sure that you have ownership for them, it helps to keep that low. Because you'll know where the issues are coming through training, what needs to happen next.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's if I'm doing 200,000 brake pack boxes out of the company and I'm at 1/4 of 1%, I'm still upsetting 500 customers a day. Well, that's unacceptable. How can we continue to drive that lower and lower? And those 500 customers, is going to be one of those deals where, hey, I'm going to give them another shot, or hey, I'm going to take my business elsewhere. So we want to satisfy all our customers. Again, we talked a little bit about this. This is the old way, where the boxes were palletized, and then we shrink film them, or stretch wrap them, excuse me. And trucks run out of here, you know, depends on, different buildings have a different amount of trucks going out, just depending on their dock doors and their span and what have you. And then the road net, I had mentioned that, where it routes the deliveries to the customers. And then this was before pack size. We had 29 orders on this pallet. And then that's what 29, same 29 orders, but using the pack size packing. So you can see how much less space and less dunnage it takes up. Also, it helps protect the product better because the product's not bouncing around in those boxes.
With dunnage, I was spending, before we went pack size, I was spending about $35,000 to $45,000 in dunnage alone just to service this side. Now I spend about $6,000 every year.
Can you
At least the
define
last
that
year and a
in
half.
for them?
Huh?
The air pillows. The air pillows.
Are our biggest piece, because the air pillows are about $3,500 a pallet, and I had to give one almost every, one a month, or if not every other month. So now I get one, maybe 2 a year. So,
All right, so as far as careers, we touched on this a little bit. The access site, careers.staples.com. We've got sales. We've got a sales force that's selling our business-to-business sales. So we might have a customer like, say, CVS. CVS is opening a new store, and we'll kit up an order, an opening order kit. We might have, I don't know, 8 to 10, 12, 15 pallets of whatever they need to open that store and stock the shelves and get them ready to get going. So that's an example of what we would do to kit up to help open up a store. The retail, that's the brick and mortar stores. So there's our print copy shops. So if you want to go in and get some resumes copied over on some great paper or what have you, or if you want to get some posters, hey, congratulations, so-and-so's graduating, or birthday, that type of thing, all those banners and things you see around. That's our retail and the print copy. Then we have what we're involved with, the supply chain, and then we have, again, the corporate office up in Framingham, Mass. They probably have 3,000 plus people that work up there, and they're determining what are we going to bring in, what are we going to sell, the merchants, the buyers, the decision makers, what's the next item that we want to bring into the fold, that type of thing.
Robert, you have a background in packaging. How did you get into Staples?
Yeah, I went to school at Clemson in packaging. Kind of started out when the program was getting going there, and then I've worked with a variety of different folks over 20 plus years. So Georgia Pacific, you guys have heard of those folks, and Rock 10. So they actually make the corrugated or the boxes or your cereal stock type box that you get the cereal out of. Then I spent some years in tobacco, and then went to Pizza Hut Yum Brands for about 12 years. So actually the box that Pizza Hut was using, that was the patent I have on that design, because it was a shallow front, and we saved a lot of money, and the environmental aspect. And then about 3 years ago, I came over to Staples. And it's kind of a little bit of everything. I enjoy working with the different vendors that we're having in the mix, working with our customers to try and better satisfy them from a quality standpoint, working with our operations partners. My job is to satisfy people. So it's satisfying the associates out here. How can I make it easier on them? Ultimately, the end user that's going to get the product there, how can I satisfy those folks to get the perfect order on their door? And I actually, as far as specific to Staples, I found the opportunity online, and one thing led to another, and I've been with us 3 years. Robert actually started in the building here in the 90s.
I've been with Staples in August, will be 25 years.
Wow.
So
And I think one of the things that's exciting when you see this facility and when you talk to these guys, we talk in our program all the time about how, we're not your typical graphic design program, right? We want you guys to be leaders. And you can hear just from what Robert said about what he's doing here. And when you look at all the different things that Robert has to manage and all the different types of people he has to coordinate, knowing that whole process from end to end really makes a huge difference and makes you obviously a valuable employee if you can stick around for 25 years. So it's great to hear that we're heading in the right direction.
Well, and it's like anything you do, whether you're classmates or your coworkers. You don't have to be friends to be in business together, but it sure makes it a heck of a lot more fun. So I guess that's just the real world. You want to be around other people that are friendly. And
I didn't realize that when I started, I was at UPS part-time going to school, and I needed more money to pay for school because my parents didn't do that. So I took a job as a part-time guy, the second part-time job, working at a small office products company. When I found it, I was like, you sell office products? I was used to going to Walgreens, or Walmart wasn't around back when I was just starting. So I didn't realize how much office product was, how big it was. Until this was just a small company, and a big company bought it. So finished school and went up through the part-time ranks and ended up here. But I never realized how much office products actually moves, and there's a lot. It's changed a lot. Y'all don't even know what a 5x8 floppy disk is.
Yes.
That was my main seller when I started doing this about 10 years ago. We don't even have, I probably have a box somewhere as I kept as a souvenir somewhere.
Do you guys still print your catalogs?
Huh?
Do you still print your catalogs?
Yeah,
We
we
do
still
some.
get to. We don't get like we used to. We used to get 4 to 5 truckloads of that there, and then it was one of our main sellers. But we still get it, but not as much, because we end up having to recycle that at the end of the year. We usually give about a half a truck to a truck away, not away, but to the recycler.
But it sounds like with over 1 million products, it's likely it changes by the time you print it or something.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah, the website, I tell you, they do a good job of getting good pictures and the description on there. I mean, there's a team in our corporate office that's accountable for setting all that up. I mean, I get copies on every new SKU. There's some days where we have, a couple thousand new SKUs added each day.
Wow.
I've got a couple more slides. I'll go through them pretty quick. But again, packaging. It's to protect, and not just Staples, but just packaging in general, to protect the product, contain the product, then inform you, the customer, and then there's an added utility use factor. It's kind of like on the Chips Ahoy or Oreos, it's got that resealing feature so they don't dry out. That's kind of a utility use, if you will. So what we're doing, we're looking to improve that customer experience. We're obviously looking to reduce cost, improve the efficiency, whether it's for our associates out here, as I was telling you, or out in the field. In a smaller box, I can get more in a truck, less carbon footprint as far as delivery, what have you. The positive quality impacts. So this is a pre-pack size, and the same 3 components in a pack size box. And the sustainability, we used to have, and we still have some of this, these acetate canisters, of binder clips, and we're moving toward this resealable type package here. So same thing with it. If you buy an ink cartridge, it comes in that foil pouch and it had that paperboard around there. Well, we've moved that away from the paperboard and it's just in the foil pouch. So some of those type of things.
Because if you've ordered it online, you know what it's doing.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, basically it's already been sold.
Yeah.
So one of the things, we'll bring Dell or Procter & Gamble, Clorox, we'll bring them in our buildings and say, hey, come see how we handle your products. And then we can partner with them and, hey, how can we work better? Not just for Staples, but if they're selling to Walmart or whoever else is an online e-retailer now, how can they make their products more e-commerce friendly? And then, again, why Staples? Committing to that sustainable growth in our community. We're partnering with you guys at U of H on the packaging program down there.
Bless you.
And again, we have a number of students that come in from a logistics program. A lot of them are out of Northeastern or Syracuse, things like that. Since we're based in the Northeast from a corporate office, that's where we have those folks coming in generally. But now that there's a broader, looking broader, where can you get that best talent? We have a management rotational program. It's a 2-year type program that different graduates get into, and they spend time in a building, in a corporate office working on different supply chain projects, and it's about 3 months in each program, and then they can kind of partner up and figure out where do they have the best fit.
I tried to get one of those free laborers, but I couldn't. It gets charged to corporate now.